What if I told you you could get audiophile quality for $150? Doesn't sound right, does it? Because when we think of audiophile and hi-fi quality, we think of, well, a lot of money. In fact, we might even be thinking even more money, because that's what the hi-fi industry wants you to believe, that you have to spend a ton of money to get hi-fi results. But Topping, they're trying to flip the script. And that's why they came out with their Topping E30 DAC for only $150. But is it real audiophile quality? Let's go ahead and take a look right now. Now this is the Topping E30. It's a DAC that I picked up from Apos Audio. Now if you're not familiar with Apos Audio, you probably should be. They're a new website that came out that just tailors to the hi-fi and audiophile community, and they sell DACs, preamps, and even headphone amplifiers. And they have a great return policy and even 2-year warranties. Make sure to check them out. Now this Topping E30 was purchased from them, and this is what would be considered an audiophile DAC. Or is it? Well, it's only $150, so most people are automatically going to jump on the train and say it's not audiophile quality because it doesn't cost X amount of money, and we can get caught up in those games. So what do we mean by audiophile quality anyway? Basically what we're saying is we want that source signal to be able to send directly to our speakers so that we're hearing our speakers. We don't want to hear the DAC, we don't want to hear the amplifier, we don't want those to impede the signal of the first source to our final destination, which is our speaker. So those should be very linear and they should have very low distortion. You're never going to get rid of distortion completely, but you can get it out of the human audible range. And that's what you're trying to do when you get an audiophile style DAC. And Topping, well, they did just that. Here's the results that they have, and they actually give you these results with your documentation so that you can see it yourself. Now, the cool thing is too, we can't always trust manufacturers' results, right? Because manufacturers have been known to, well, let's just say stretch the truth. Topping actually hasn't. This particular DAC was tested independently by Amir from Audio Science Review, and he got very similar results to what Topping has. Now, before I get to the sound quality portion of this, I'll give you a quick sneak peek. I really like it. But before I get too far into that, let me tell you a little bit about the unit itself. You can buy this particular unit in black, silver, blue, or red. So if you are one of those people that really wants a different color, you can do that. It is a relatively small unit. It does fit in the palm of your hand, and on the bottom has 4 little rubber feet that help keep it in place. On the back, it does have 3 digital inputs. It has a digital fiber optic, a digital coax, and of course a USB. There is a 5-volt power cord that comes with it. It is just a USB end. So if you want to plug that into an actual outlet, you're going to need to pick up a USB wall wart, or hopefully you have one on hand. The output is of course analog RCA, which is what you're going to plug up to your amplifier or your powered speakers. Now the USB port is pretty cool. The USB port does handle up to 32-bit 768 kilohertz signal, and of course it does all of your high-res audio such as FLAC and DSD. Now when you turn it around to the front side, you do have that black glass screen that looks really sharp with the bright orange display. There's one button on the side, which is just a touch screen. If you don't look hard, you're actually gonna overlook it. And that's what I like about this. There's no real buttons on it. It's just a very sleek, nice looking unit. The display itself is very high contrast with bright orange letters. I like that I can see it from pretty much anywhere. And it does give it a nice unique look compared to some of the other units which use like a white or a red. I really like this orange. Now that orange display is going to show one of 2 things. If you're on the pre-input, it's going to show you your volume that you're on, or if you're on the DAC input, it will actually show you the bit rate at which you're sending the signal. So I guess we should say that this could be used as a pre or just as a DAC. Now, if you want to use this as a pre, you can actually control the volume, which will go down from 0. In order to do that, when the unit is off, just hold down that power button and it will cycle between both pre and DAC. Just let go of that power button when you have it selected the way that you want it to. In order to change inputs, you just quickly tap that button right there on the front and it'll switch between the inputs. Now, if you want any more advanced features, you're going to have to pick up the remote control. This remote control does use AAA batteries, which did not come with it. But the remote control itself has a couple buttons on it. It has a power button, a mute button, volume up and down, and of course, you can switch between the inputs. There are 3 buttons on here though that don't do anything. The headphone, the line out, and the M button are useless on this particular remote control. The FIR is a filter button. This filter button is actually a nice addition to this unit. Typically, DAC chip manufacturers just pick a filter for you, but in this case, it allows you to change between 6 different ones to see which one you like the best. That's nice. Having said that, a filter should not be confused with an EQ. That is not what this is doing. This is filtering out ultrasonic frequencies, and you can tell by the graph what it is actually doing. The auto button does turn it auto on and off, and the display button is the last button, and that just changes the brightness of your display. So let me go ahead and talk to you a little bit about the sound quality. This absolutely, positively is a HiFi audiophile grade unit. I absolutely love the sound quality of this. This brought my speakers to life. I was amazed at how much of a difference this made at even just $150. I honestly didn't think it was going to make that big of a difference. I hooked this up to just some cheap speakers to begin with. They were the Dayton MK442. They're powered speakers with a Class D amplifier in them. Nothing real special. They're like $100 for the pair. Plug this up to it, and these speakers had never sounded so good. Instantaneously, the highs were much more clear, the bass was much more tight, the mids were just very mellow. Overall, it brought these speakers and made them sound completely different. Now, these particular speakers have a little bit of a brighter high end on them. This is the version 1 where the high end is actually rising. And because of that, I tried those filter modes out, 1 through 6. And for these particular speakers, I liked 6 the most. It actually did warm these speakers up a little bit more. And I was really surprised at that. Truthfully, at $150, I don't think I've come across a unit that can make as significant of an impact as something like this. This is just a really great unit to have. Now, if you don't have a HiFi DAC yet, I would highly suggest this one. There's some downfalls to this, as always. I mean, it's a $150 DAC. There's going to be some things that I don't like about it. So let's talk about those things I don't like about it. First, there's no Bluetooth. So if you're really into Bluetooth or wireless streaming, those types of things, unless you're doing it from your computer, it's just not going to really have an impact on as some of your more expensive units will have. It also didn't come with those AAA batteries, so you're going to need to buy those for your remote control. Lastly, though, the USB cable that it came with, well, it was pretty short. So if you're using a desktop like I am and you want your DAC somewhere easy to see, like on top of your desk, well, you might need a longer USB cable. I know I did, and I used one that I had on hand. But honestly, at $150, these are pretty small gripes, especially with the difference it made in sound quality. So if you're looking for that first foray into HiFi and audiophile quality, then I would say go ahead and try something like this Topping E30 DAC. I think it will make a huge difference on it. Now, if you also want a headphone amplifier, Apos Audio actually sells this DAC along with the L30 headphone amplifier for $300, and they throw in a pair of really nice RCAs while they're at it. So that's something to consider if you need something like that. If you want hi-fi quality and you thought you had to pay hi-fi prices, surprise, you don't. So go ahead and check out the Topping E30. If you get it, tell me what you think of it. I'd love to hear your opinion. Thanks, guys. This is Toys DIY Audio, and I'm out. Now you're probably wondering what I got going on. I got a lot of things going on. I got some really cool things going with Cartesian audio. I've mentioned those. That build is starting to come along. I finally got the last couple of parts in, so I'm going to get started on that. The CSS sub is almost done, along with the guitar amplifier. That's going to be a really cool build. I've never done that before, so it's pretty interesting. I also have some reviews coming out. I have a review on some Mookie speakers, and I have some review on some podcasting equipment for some of you guys that might want to get into podcasting. Monoprice sent me some podcasting equipment since I started up Sound Advice, which is, by the way, 7 p.m. Mondays. Check us out. We'll be there every Monday at 7 p.m. on either my channel, HiFi Vegas, or DIY Audio Guy. I'm going to test out this equipment and tell you if it's a good buy or not a good buy. And I'm even going to test the microphone versus my Deity microphone, which is $200, so significantly more money. Which one do I prefer out of the two for podcasting? All right, guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. And this honestly is really the last time I'm going to say it, but this is Toys DIY Audio, and I'm really out this time.